Welcome to episode 33 of PBP Tips. It is July 13th, and wow, PBP is getting really close. 4 weeks from today, I'll be on a plane for France, along with my luggage and my bike. And anyway, for this episode, I just wanted to do something a little useful and a little fun. Tell you about some of my personal quirks and things that I always do and don't do on the bike, and then a few other tips. So let's go. So let me talk first of all about just a personal quirk of mine. Now, if you notice, I'm wearing a PBP jersey from 2011. Now, I ordered the 2019 PBP jersey, but I will not wear that on the day of the ride. I just don't do that. Just a personal superstition of mine that I never wear a ride jersey on the ride while it's happening. I always wait until afterwards. I figure that's something I wear after the ride to commemorate that I did it, but I will not wear the event jersey on the day of the ride. Just a personal thing of mine. Actually, years ago, I was getting ready to do that on a double century ride, and got a call that evening before the ride. Family emergency, had to go back home. Anyway, I was pushing the limits then, at least according to my own superstition. Now, another quirk, or maybe habit, whatever you want to call it, is, and a piece of advice, is there are certain things that I always carry with me on my person. So right now, in my jersey, I got 3 pockets in the back. The left one is always my iPod. I always have an iPod because I like listening to music while I'm riding. The middle one is my phone, and I keep that in a plastic bag just because I don't want to get the phone all sweaty, and even if things are waterproof, oftentimes they're not vapor proof, and the vapors that are coming off you in terms of, all the sweat and stuff. Anyway, the middle pocket is always the phone. Right hand pocket, at least my right hand side, is always my wallet. I try never to carry those things, say, on the bike or in a backpack or something like that, where it can get separated from me. I did that one time on a ride. I left my phone in a Camelback, and then ended up forgetting the Camelback at a rest stop. It's kind of stupid. By the time I remembered that it was missing, it was too far to go back. So I finished that ride without being able to call anybody. So those things, especially wallet, phone, and probably in France, passport, are always going to be on my person, so I can't leave them behind. I mentioned always keeping things in the same jersey pockets. Well, the same goes on my Handlebar bag. I always keep things in the same pockets there. Like on the back side of my Handlebar bag facing me on the right hand side, that's always the battery pocket. Battery and cables always go there. Left hand side is, on this ride, always where my keys go. I've got a front pocket where tools and things go. Anyway, I always try and put things in the same pocket. When you're tired, when you're kind of brain dead, 3 days out, it's just one less thing to worry about, like, where did I put the batteries? Because they're always in the same place. So try and simplify your life. Do things the same way every time, as one less thing to think about. Now, in terms of things to carry on your bike, here's a few things that I would recommend you think about, and I think I've mentioned some of these before, but let's do it one more time. One is zip ties. I always carry an assortment of zip ties, some small, some big. They're extremely helpful, and they come in really handy if something breaks or starts rattling or whatever on your bike. Carry some of those. You can also find small, like 6-inch long bungee cords. 1 or 2 of those are really helpful. I've used those in the past. when, say, a fender bracket breaks or something and you want to keep it from rattling. They come in very handy. Ankle bands, the kind with, they're usually reflective, with Velcro on them. Those obviously can be used as ankle bands. They also double as kind of emergency lashing mechanisms. In 2015, as I was finishing the ride, on the way back, leaving Ludiac, the tightening strap on one of my shoes broke off of the shoe. So I had no way of tightening the shoe. And what I ended up doing was I took, actually I think, a couple of ankle bands and wrapped those around my foot to hold the shoe together, and it worked fine. Took a couple of minutes to do, and really got me out of a tight spot right there. I mentioned that I always like to listen to music on my rides. I will carry a spare set of earbuds. So I have had the experience of riding along and the earbud falls out of your ear, somehow gets tangled up in something and breaks. Or I've also had the experience of earbuds actually stopping, not working as well, because they get sweat in them. So it's a good idea just to have a spare pair out there. They weigh almost nothing, and keep those. I usually keep those in the same pocket as the spare batteries that I have. I figure that's kind of the electronics pocket, so that's where they go. You'll want to carry a pen. I find this is more useful, not so much for PBP, but for other randonneuring. You'll have a brevet card, and a lot of times you'll need to, to get to a control, you need to fill in the time that you got there. If it's an informational control, you have to write down the answer. So, just a good idea to carry a pen. I carry a Fisher Space pen because they'll write on things when they're wet. So it's not uncommon for your brevet card to get wet somehow, and a space pen will continue to write on that even when it is. On the bike I'm riding right now, and one other bike, there are some kind of specially sized nuts that aren't really dealt with very well by most mini toolkits. So I carry a special little wrench that fits those. They're the nuts that hold the fender stays onto the frame. Once in a while they'll come loose, and if you're out there and you don't have a wrench that'll fit that, you're kind of stuck. So if there's any fitting on your bike, first of all, just make sure that you have a tool that is going to fit everything on the bike. Whether it's a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips, all the different size Allen keys, but then any other kind of nuts that you have on the bike. Now back in the day, actually not that long ago, we were all running lights that had halogen bulbs, and you had to carry spares because they would inevitably fail. I had to stop at least once on PBP in 2007 to replace a headlight bulb that had burned out. Many tail lights still have those, but anyway, if you have anything other than an LED light, of course LEDs are going to run forever, but anything other than an LED light that might burn out, be sure you have a spare so that you can replace it. And one of the last things that comes to mind right now is cameras. I like to carry a camera. Obviously, I carry a video camera like the one I'm using right now. I also like to carry a still camera, sometimes digital. These days, almost always film, but I prefer to use those over using my phone. I find the phone is just too clumsy to use. It takes too many steps to get it out of your pocket, turn it on, find the phone app, etc., etc. And I'm just afraid of dropping the darn thing. A camera, not that big a deal, depends on what the camera is, but a phone could be a deal breaker. So I like to carry a camera, and again, that's always in the same place in my handlebar bag. Most of my cameras have a wrist strap on them, and I will take that wrist strap and have it extending out of the camera bag. So that does a couple things. One is it gives me a good visual cue that the camera is there. Also makes it easy to grab the camera because I just grab the strap and then kind of pull it out of the bag. I don't have to reach into the bag and find it. So that is it for this edition of PBP Tips. If you're going to France, I'm sure you probably already made all your plans, plane reservations and so on. So good luck with your travels. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, don't crash, don't wreck your bike, and I will look forward to meeting all of you in real life over in Paris, in Rambouillet, and out on the course at PBP. See you then. As often happens, as soon as I finished filming all that footage out on the bike trail, I remembered a bunch of stuff that I wanted to say about things to carry on your bike. So here goes, a few more things. Well, first of all, here is one of those bungee cords that I mentioned. These are like 6 or 8 inches long, little hook on each end. They're great for lashing stuff to your bike. They've really come in helpful, as I mentioned in the video a number of times. You can buy these in like a little jar. It comes with like a couple dozen of them in different colors. I like to match the color to the bike, just because that's me. One other thing I forgot to mention is to carry a bag full of these vinyl exam gloves. Super helpful if you're changing a tire. Put on a pair of these before you do all that, because if you're picking up, lifting the chain, doing whatever, it keeps your hands clean. You don't have to worry about washing your hands, getting all the grease off them. If you're out on the road someplace and you're, say, reapplying some chamois cream, put one of these on the hand that's going to kind of reach down in there and move all the cream around, and take it off and throw it away. Your hands will be clean when you're all done. Another thing I've started carrying, this is a little roll of gaffer's tape. Now, historically we've all carried, or some of us have carried, a little bit of duct tape. Gaffer's tape is nice, it's strong, the adhesive holds really well, and when you take it off, it doesn't leave behind residue like duct tape can. And again, this can come in really handy and be a lifesaver in terms of getting something back on your bike that may have fallen off or be about to fall off. You can buy these in rolls like this size. I found these on Amazon for a few bucks. It's well worth it to carry something like this in your bag. Another tip, if you're really trying to go for lightweight, is use one of these for a while around home until it gets like half this size, and then carry the remnants on your bike, because you're not going to need a whole bunch of this, hopefully, but just to have some around. This will also work well if you have a cut in your tire and you want to patch the inside of the tire. Put some of this on there, maybe a couple layers. It'll also help if for some reason your rim strip has moved from side to side and you're exposing a spoke head. Put some of this on. Anyway, really helpful stuff to carry on your bike. I always carry one of these. This is, I've got several different kinds. This is a cable lock, but the cool feature for this is it has a combination on it, and it has an alarm. There's a little battery in here. So if you're stopping at a control, well, not necessarily at a control, I think your bike's really safe there, but if you're stopping someplace, if you're going to take a ditch nap, or if any place that you feel maybe is outside of a control, if you're going to stop and you're not going to see your bike, I always put one of these around it. I take this with me just on rides around here. When I stop at a coffee shop, I'll lash my bike to something if I can, and I'll put this, around the bike. And if you heard that sound, that's the alarm arming itself. And if you try and cut this cable or open the lock without using the proper combination, that alarm's going to go off. It's quite loud. I'm not going to do it here. And then one final thing, because some of us are getting to that age, I carry folding eyeglasses. These are some called Magnavision. You can buy these at bookstores, you can buy them online. These are kind of cool. They start off really small, and then they unfold like so, and there, you've got reading glasses. You're not going to do a whole bunch of reading out on the course, but just in case you ever need to, if you're trying to look at something on your phone in the dark or whatever, these can be a lifesaver. So I always have a pair of these in my bike. And all this stuff, by the way, came from one pocket that's on the front of my handlebar bag. So I know they're always going to be in that pocket in the same place. They're in there with my spare headphones, my ballpoint pen for writing on brevet cards, but they're always in the same spot. So with that is the end of this video. Once again, looking forward to seeing everybody over in France, and seeing all you folks out there in real life who've been viewing and in a lot of cases commenting on my videos. So once again, if you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can hit the little bell icon. You'll get notified when new ones are posted, and there'll be a few more before PBP, and I'll be posting during kind of that whole PBP milieu, and then we'll see if I can do it during the ride, but I'm going to do my very best. Also invite you to check out my Instagram. I'll put a link to that down in the description. I'll probably be posting maybe more photos and stuff from the event on Instagram than on YouTube, just because it takes a lot less time. But I do invite you to check that out as well, and on my Twitter feed, where I usually cross-post all my Instagram photos as well. So thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Few weeks to the ride. Getting excited now. See you in the next video.